Hello. We shall discuss The Tiger by William Blake. As you know that this is a companion poem. This is a companion poem to The Lamb. But The Lamb is in the Songs of Innocence and The Tiger is in the Songs of Experience. Songs of Innocence was published in 1789 and the Songs of Experience was published in 1794. So before starting the poem, first thing that you should notice is the spelling of the word tiger. It's Tiger, right? It's not Tyger. So why this spelling is Tyger instead of I? There is Y. Now the reason is that tiger Tyger is the archaic form of the word, archaic spelling of the word tiger Tyger. So from Tyger it came to Tiger. But you see the prolonged I sound, the Y sound, tiger, tiger. So this Y is creating a prolonged I sound, which perhaps means that the poet wanted us to emphasize the sense of awe that is incorporated with the portrayal of a tiger, with the picture or the image of a tiger, the sense of awe and amazement. You can see the picture here. This uh, this was made by William Blake himself. He wrote the poem as a sort of inscription in this painting. Let's start. But before starting this tiger, you shall need to know something about Blake's mythical universe. Now, Blake's theological world or theological concepts are quite different. First of all, he believed in Christian ideologies, he believed in Christian theology. Particularly, he was much influenced by Paradise Lost by John Milton. So, there are Christian concepts. Obviously, in his poems, you can find the Christian concepts and Christian allusions, like the God, the Christian God that would mean like the God in the New Testament, and the Christ, for example, in the Lamb, uh, he is called by thy name. When the speaker, that is the boy, is saying that he is called by thy name, there is an sorry allusion to the Christ, because Christ was called the Lamb of God. So, uh, but sometimes he would compare or rather equate this Christ to the God. For example, again, I shall be referring to the lamb when the speaker, the boy, is saying that, uh, "Dost you know who made thee? Do you know who made thee? He is called by your name. He is called by thy name. Do you know who made thee? He is called by thy name. He is called by your name." So Christ was called the Lamb of God, and when the boy is saying that he is called by thy name, and he, the Lamb of God created you, that is, the Lamb created you, the divine Lamb. So he is referring to the Christ. But Christ is not the creator. Christ is the Son of God. Obviously, you can refer to the innocence of the boy. He doesn't know something about it. But you can find in several of Blake's poems where you may find that he is equating this Christ with God, the creator. And obviously, Christian concepts are heaven and hell are there in his poems. But along with it, he has made, or he has created his own version, own mythical version, rather dark version, where the god is a cruel one. His name is Urizen. You can find this in The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. So you can find that Urizen is the dark version of God. He is a cruel God, quite like the Yahweh, the Jew God of the Old Testament. And There are other references like Thermos. Thermos in Blake's mythical universe uh, would represent instinct and strength. Los or Urthona represents the imagination. But this Eurigen, Thermos, Los, or Urthona, these are made up by Blake himself. These are Blake's individual mythology. He created it. So the problem is that his references would constantly shift between these two worlds, his own version of mythical universe, his own version of this theology, and the Christian theology in general. So the God, the references to the God or the Creator would be sometimes it would be the Christian God, and sometimes he would be referring to the Eurasian. Now this is why his poems are much complex sometimes, and this problem, or rather this conflict, you can find in this very poem, The Tiger. So let's see. First, let's read the poem. The Tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder, what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand, what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp, dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears, the water heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So apparently the tone is quite like that of a nursery rhyme. It's quite identical to the lamb. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost you know who made thee? But you see, there is a change, there is a shift in tone. Here, the tone is much more serious, and there is a sense of amazement or awe is there. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps of skies burn the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder, what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, in furnace was thy brain. What the anvil, what did grasp, dare its deadly terror clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Now, first compared to the poem Lamb, you see, the boy was asking constantly some questions, but those questions were quite assertive. He was out of curiosity, repeating some certain lines like "Little lamb, who made thee? Dost you know who made thee?" Uh, and it would end in this way like "I'll tell thee, I'll tell thee." So you see, out of curiosity, the boy is saying saying these lines quite hurriedly, in a boyish manner, obviously. But those questions in the lamb were assertive one. The answers would have been obviously yes, because uh, uh, answers would have been yes, like he's called by thy name. Uh, he's called by thy name. Sorry, the answer would be obvious. The answer would be obvious that that was the God, the Creator, or the Christ. In the poem Lamb, he is the boy is equating the Christ with the Creator. So the answer was the Creator, obvious. But think of this poem when uh, the speaker is constantly asking some questions like what the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? And tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Here, the answer is not obvious. A sense of uncertainty is being pervaded throughout the poem, throughout these questions. All the series of questions, there are a sense of uncertainty which was not in the lamp. Now you see a shift in tone. I am repeating once again, from quite uh, naive uh, one to a serious and grave one. So let's analyze the poem. So, stanza 1. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Obviously, I have already said it that the tiger is the archaic spelling of the word tiger. Tyger is the archaic spelling, but also, as you can assume, that this tiger is not exactly like the tiger, quote unquote Tiger. This Tyger, quote unquote, is a bit different. And the poet is, or the speaker is thinking of some cosmic smithy, some divine smith is creating this tiger. So this tiger is at the same time same to the tiger that we know, and at the same time is different. And again, uh, as it seems, the speaker wants us to realize the sense of awe and amazement that is incorporated with the image of the tiger. So that's why it was quite intentionally done. The intentionally spelling was altered. Okay. Now, burning bright. So, burning bright obviously is a reference to the bright eyes of the tiger that would uh, uh, quite that is quite that would quite seem like burning in the dark. So, in the forests of the night, now forests of the night here is a direct comparison or contrast to the meadows that you have read in the poem The Lamb. The Lamb, you can see the line where meadows and daylight were being referred to in the poem Lamb. And here, the forest and the night, the dark, these are associated with this tiger. So you see, the forest of the night is contrasted with the meadows of the lamp. By the stream over the mead, there was one line, by the stream over the mead in the poem The Lamp. Now, meadows, daylight, these are signifying innocence. These are signifying innocence, meekness, naivety. The forest of the night, on the other hand, is signifying experience, and obviously uh, the sense of danger and evil, the forest of the night. Now, this is important because you see, a lamb cannot survive in the forest, but a tiger can. So, tiger is representing the fierceness. The tiger is a symbol of fierceness. So, you also need fierceness to save yourself from the evil. It's not that the tiger is representing some evil, but the tiger possesses some power, some fierceness, so that he can survive in the dark, in the forest, dark of the forest, and amidst the evil. So that is quite important one. So innocence and meekness are not sufficient for survival. You also need the fierceness of a tiger, the courage of a tiger in order to survive amidst the evil. Stanza 2. In what distant deeps of skies burn the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? So, deeps or skies, these are references to the hell and heaven. Deeps, hell, skies, heaven. So, burn the fire in thine eyes. So, the speaker is asking that what, where, from where did you get the fire in your eyes? Was it from hell or from heaven? So who created you? Where you were created? Where you were created? Was it heaven or was it hell? Who created you? Some dark force created you, or some benevolent forces that created lamb created you? Where were you created? Was it a heaven or was it hell? So the fire, and then the wings. You see, on what wings dare he aspire? On what wings? Obviously, it is a reference to the angels. Particularly, this can be a reference to the angels or the fallen angels. Now, the fallen angels are the devil. You know from the Paradise Lost, or according to the New Testament, that this is uh, that some of the angels revolted against the God, and they were fallen along with their leader Lucifer, or the Satan. So both demons and the angels have wings. So these wings, by the word wings, it can be a reference either to the angels or to the demons. So the uncertainty is here also. You see, the speaker doesn't know where this uh, tiger was created. Was it a hell? Was it heaven? Where? Because who would create such a forceful, fierce, terrorizing character, a creature? And what the hand dare seize the fire? Who would dare to seize the fire when when the Creator was putting fire into your eyes? What the hand dared to seize the fire? So, seizing the fire is obviously associated with pain, because if you seize the fire, your hand would be burnt. So, seizing the fire is uh, referring to the pain that the Creator quite endured in order to create the eyes, the burning eyes of the tiger. Maybe this fire is not only referring to the eyes of the tiger, but also the very the very skin of the tiger also. You see, if you see a tiger, it looks like a flame because of its reddish yellow color and this black stripes. It looks like a flame. Uh, Look at, think of Royal Bengal tiger. The skin of Royal Bengal tiger just looks like a flame, like the flame. So it is not only a reference to the eyes of the tiger, but also the very skin of the tiger. So who dared to seize the fire? Who dared to endure the pain of seizing a fire while creating you? The uncertainty is still there. What was it? Some dark force, or was it the benevolent God who created lamb, the meek creature like lamb? Obviously, seizing the fire there is a reference to the Prometheus. To Prometheus, Prometheus, from Greek mythology, Prometheus was the one who stole fire from heaven and then brought it to the earth. And as a punishment, Jews chained him, and his flesh was fed. Fed to the vultures. So let's move on. Stanza 3. And what the shoulder, what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what tread hand, what tread feet? Now what the shoulder, what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? Now sinews are the tough fibrous tissue that join muscles to the bones. Hmm? Uh, you know about these fibrous tissues that would join the bone to the muscle. Now, what shoulder, what art, what the could twist the sinews of thy heart? What shoulder, what enormous power could make the sinews of a tiger? It would have needed much more force to bind strong flesh of the tiger with its bones. And then, and when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand, what dread feet? Now, when the tiger came to life, what great power, what enormous power could could repress the tiger? Because when the tiger would come to life, it would try to uh, get away from the repression. So the line number 12 is particularly pointing at the immense strength of the creator who could resist the violent effort of the tiger, quote unquote Tyger, to break out the confinement when it came to life. That is referred to by heart started to beat. Obviously, when it came to life, what would dare, and what the enormous power would dare to suppress the violent efforts of a tiger to get away from the confinement? And now it's quite obvious, but I want to give you a sort of analogical example. Think of the think of a think of an unconscious tiger. Suppose a tiger is unconscious, and suppose you suppose uh, you are you are working in a animal in a sort of animal care department. Then when the tiger would come to life, after when the tiger would gain its consciousness, what would happen? You would be terrified, because you would be terrified. So this terror is here, the sense of terror is there. When the tiger came to life, what dared to suppress it? Okay, I think I have missed something. What the hammer, what the chain? Stanza 4. What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil and what the grasp? Dear its deadly terror clasp. What the hammer, what the chain? In the furnace was thy brain. So, as you can presume, that the speaker is thinking of some cosmic smithy, some divine smith is creating the tiger in a furnace, some cosmic furnace, and uh, the speaker is thinking that it must have been a great furnace where this brain was produced. The brain of the tiger was produced with some enormous rigidity. So the chain, the reference to chain is there. Now a chain is usually used to pull up and down in a furnace to pass the air. If you see a furnace, then you can understand that the chain is being used to pass air to it in order to aggravate the flame. Then what did clasp? What enormous strength of the creator dare its deadly terrors clasp? So what enormous uh, power could could create uh, its deadly terror clasp? It could repress its attempts to break away the confinement while it came to life, while he was creating it. Okay, stanza 5. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made lamb make thee? Now, here you can find stars threw down their spears. In the first place, it can refer to the angels. The stars can refer to the angels who threw down their spears. Somehow they objected against this creation of such fair creature. Maybe uh, uh, in the first place, it can be like the angels. The tiger was created in some hell, and the angels revolted against it. The angels objected against it. This is the first explanation, but there can be a second explanation. For in Blake's mythology, the stars represents the fallen angels. Now think of the creator. Think of the creator is creating the tiger, and then the stars, the rebel angels, they are objected against it, and they are trying to create resistance um, uh, in path of the creator. Okay. Now uh, uh, you can find that this is there can be two explanations. If that was uh, created in hell, then the angels objected against it, and if that was made in heaven, or some the or the creator, or the god of New Testament obviously created it, then the fallen angels revolted against the creation of such fearful and uh, terrorizing creature. So this can be in two ways. um, okay. Did he smile his work to see? Did he who made lamb make thee? Still the uncertainty is there. Did he smile his work to see? Now, in the first place, did he smile his work to see? That was a that creature was created by its creator. But that but the very form of the tiger is an example of supreme art. You see, the tiger in general is very beautiful. It has its flaming skin, bright eyes, the structure of the tiger. It's like as if it's a piece of art. Remember, the speaker is thinking of some cosmic smithy, where a divine smith is creating the tiger, and in this case, the tiger is a piece of art. The very body of the tiger, the very creature tiger, is the piece of art that was created by its creator in some cosmic smithy. Now, did the creator smile when he ultimately sees uh, that creature? Did its creator smile after creating it, after realizing that what is the capacity of the tiger, what terrorizing uh, quality that a tiger possesses, what sort of fierceness and what destructive force a tiger possesses? So, did the creator smile it after creating it? Now you see that there may be a references to the loss, loss or urthona. Remember the first slide. Remember the second slide, where I said that in Blake's mythology, loss or urthona is the uh, symbol of supreme imagination, symbol of supreme imagination. Maybe this creator is lost. There is a possibility, but we shall assume that it's the creator. Now, who is the creator? Was it some dark force created it, or some good force, or some creator who created lamb created this? Now this uncertainty is still there. Did he who made lamb make thee? At this moment, even though uncertainty there is uncertainty, still the speaker is uncertain whether the tiger was created by some dark force, or some uh, angelic force, or some good force. This is not certain, but at this moment you start to realize that the answer is quite yes. The answer is quite yes, because it was the creator who created the lamb, and it was the same creator who created this tiger. Blake, in his The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, uh, said, or there is a particular very popular line from The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, written by Blake: without contraries there is no progression. Without contraries there is no progression. So the lamb is representing meekness, naivety, innocence, but that innocence cannot survive in face of some dark force, or in face of some evil force, because it would be easily destroyed. It is meek, it is innocent, it is innocuous, naive. It can be easily destroyed. So the lamb-like innocence or meekness can be easily destroyed. But think of tiger. If you have the fierceness of a tiger, if you have the awful experience of a tiger or the appearance of a tiger, you cannot be defeated easily by the evil forces. So, in amidst the evil forces, in face of evil or dark forces, this lamb cannot survive. This lamb representing innocence cannot survive, but a tiger can with its fierceness. So again, I'm saying innocence with meekness cannot survive in face of the evil, but with experience you can face it. With experience and fierceness you can face it. So we can say, in order to protect your innocence, in order to protect you in general, or in order to protect your meekness or whatever, you also need the fierceness of a tiger. So you see the contrary aspects here. You will need the fierceness of a tiger to protect your innocence, to protect your lamb-like innocence. So fierceness is needed to protect your innocence. Otherwise, you cannot live in this evil world, because you can be too much vulnerable. Anyone can harm you, anyone can destroy you. So what you need fierceness, even though you're innocent. You see, now this at this moment you can realize that innocence and experience are not two very different things. Experience can be, you can say in this way, a mature form of innocence. Innocence is a mature form of innocence is experience. With experience, the innocence is not lost, but it can be matured. I am giving an analogy. Think of think of uh, think of a 5-year-old boy. Okay, I'm giving a particular example. Okay, you know of this chimney sweepers, right? The chimney sweepers. There are two poems in these very songs of innocence and experience, chimney sweepers, and then you can find the historical references too, where the boys were recruited by the industry owners to sweep the chimneys. Now that was quite a daily task. If you sweep the chimneys and if you live in that extreme heat, and if this soot would enter to your um, lungs, then you may easily die. You would die soon. Now this was possible. These boys were compelled to do these tasks because they were innocent, because they're innocus. They couldn't do something. And that's why the industry owners, the industrialists hired the boy not only because they are small in size and easily crawl through the chimney, intricate space of chimney. That is not the reason. Obviously, that is the reason, that they are small in size and they can easily crawl into the chimney, but also because they are innocent and innocuous, and they can be compelled to do the works with less wage. So with less wage they can work more, and when it comes to a mature boy or mature man, he would resist, that he wouldn't do that. So resistance, you see, that would come because of experience. Now innocence, you can be easily exploited. With innocence you can be easily exploited. Now you don't need to think of that England. Think of our India. Think of the boy workers in tea shops. The people, many people are quite intent to recruit these boys only because they would work more for less wage, and they would here adhere to them, and they could beat him or anything like that. They could abuse him or something like that, which is not possible when you recruit a full grown man. So innocence is also dangerous. With innocence you need to protect your innocence, you need experience. Now when a man is resisting any sort of torture or any sort of compulsion, think of the chimney sweepers, think of any man is resisting that I shall not do the task, I shall not do that much work, not much you pay. Hmm? Not more than you pay. Now that is also innocence. Now that is not something you cannot say he is not innocent anymore, something like that. This is also innocent. Now with experience, he's protecting his innocence, that he should not be abused. Okay, let's see another example. Think of a uh, think of Abel Magwitch of Dickens's Great Expectations. If you read the text, you can find that when he was found by the mudlarks, he was an infant and he was found. Then some criminal mastermind bought him, and what he did, he used that boy to steal something for him, and that's why he descended into the world of criminality. But at the moment he realized that these people are using me, then he tried to escape. Obviously, escaping from the criminal world was not that easy. But at the moment he gained experience, although it was too late, he realized that he was being used. So that was quite common in Victorian times, in Victorian England, that the criminal masterminds, they would hire the boys who are quite innocent. They didn't know actually sometimes what they were doing, and they would steal for them. You can also find in the Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Fagin is quite intent to recruit the boys, specifically the orphans. Okay, so the point is that you need experience to protect your innocence, or you need experience to protect any sort of protect yourself from evil forces. Only innocence, only innocence cannot uh, cannot survive in the face of evil. Along with your innocence, you will also need the fierceness and experience. Okay, stanza 6. So you see, it is the stanza 6 is quite identical to the stanza 1. That is, what was the stanza 1? Stanza 1 was like that: Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? And here there is one difference, that is the first word in the last line, that is dare. It was could in the very first stanza, and here it is dare. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So you see, still the uncertainty is back. Again, the uncertainty is back, obviously. Now, what could frame thy fearful symmetry? In the very first stanza, the speaker was quite uh, uh, awed and amazed seeing the portrayal of a tiger, thinking of thinking of a tiger as a form of creation, as a form of art. The speaker in the very first stanza was thinking uh, of a tiger as a piece of art, as a piece of creation. But in the last stanza, through a process of uh, the four stanzas that came in between these two stanzas, there was a shift. The tiger was not only a form of art, but it is also a destructive force. So in the last stanza, there is a shift from the first stanza to the last stanza, that it is not only a piece of art, but it's a destructive force. So what dared to create such destructive force? What power dared to create such destructive force? Was it the creator who made the meek lamb, created this tiger, or some evil forces? Obviously, uncertainty is there, but most probably the answer is yes. Why I have just explained. Okay, so in the very first stanza, it was like, let's see the first stanza once again. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? So, in the very first stanza, the speaker is thinking of the portrayal of a tiger as a piece of art. What creator had created such beautiful, such awesome um, creature. But in the last stanza, this speaker is thinking of a tiger as a destructive force and not only as a piece of art, it is beauty and fierceness. So, what creator would dare to create some destructive force like a tiger? Okay, so when you compare these two poems, I have already explained though, lamb would represent innocence and meekness, obviously, and innocence and obviously vulnerability. It can be harmed easily. Hmm? Tiger, tiger is not necessarily evil. Tiger is not necessarily representing evil forces, but the fierceness and experience. And this is something it can face the danger, it can face the um, evil, but lamb cannot. Lamb is innocent, lamb is meek, lamb is innocuous, but also vulnerable. It can be harmed easily. It cannot survive in face of any danger, but tiger can. Tiger, this fierce force can. So you also need that fierce force like a tiger, not only the innocence of a lamb, but also the fierceness of a tiger. Again, I should refer to this particular line from the Marriage of Heaven and Hell. Without contraries, there is no progression. So there is always two sides of everything. There is always two sides of everything, and two sides are also necessary. Two sides are necessary. You also need innocence. You also need that experience. You need to be meek. You also need to be fierce at times. So you cannot be anything, particularly anything. Okay, you need to be. There are always two sides of everything, and you will also need the meekness of a lamb and fierceness of a tiger, innocence of a lamb and experience of a tiger. Okay, so you need both. Okay,